Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. It's good to see you here. Thank you very much for your continued support. I very much appreciate. In this video, we're going to talk about posture. It was requested recently, and also I get requested over and over. Posture is a very basics of having healthy technique or being able to enjoy playing our violin for longer times. It's always worth to check whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or very much advanced player. So, general rule of thumb, anything that's against natural physics is something to recheck whether that's the only way or try to find more closer to the natural way of doing the same thing. Let's start with holding the violin first. So we'll hold violin on the left side of our chin, slightly diagonal this way, sitting on the collarbone here. Then we have a little collarbone there, one on the left side of chin this way. And then we lift up chin slightly, just lowering your lower chin slightly, that one. That's enough. And see if you can hold it. We don't all the time hold the violin with a chin and shoulder. We sometimes can rely on leften a bit, slightly giving you a little break and be able to readjust the angle or just give a little break. But nevertheless, you should be able to hold the violin just with a chin and shoulder. So lift up your chin, put your violin on your left shoulder, slightly diagonal like that. I would say maybe about 30 degrees, approximately, that makes sense. And like that. And then when you hold it, that your spine should somewhat stand straight. If you have to turn your head like this, or your violin is far out because you want to take advantage of putting here, then you have to turn your head to see the violin, or it's a little like this. That's probably not the right thing. See if you can bring your violin somewhat within your eyesight. You want to be able to see what you're doing, even though if you have to look sideways, not too far out, about 30 degrees, I would say, from the center, like that. And then keep your spine straight. The left hand generally goes under your violin. Of course, this depends on the length of the violin, the length of the arm of the violinist. So I have to have a little shorter arm. So for me, I have to bring my left arm slightly more to my right side to be able to reach all the notes. Whereas violins with a longer arm probably does not need too much, but slightly this way will be enough. The way you know is you turn your hand and keep your left hand frame open, meaning the palm should be open. Some people stretch your hand to quite a bit, but your palm is squeezed, and this is not what we want. We want to turn our hand so this way, but see if you can open your palm and see if you can have all four fingers, including the pinky, hovering over the string, whether it's E, A, D, and G. See if you can move your elbow sideways and be able to reach all of them. And that's how you know. For me, I have to bring my left elbow slightly more to my right side to the G string, whereas a violinist with a longer arm would be maybe something like this. Just keep that in mind. Now, when it comes to right hand, the bow grip, again, very the natural way is be able to curve all finger joint. Remember, the curved finger joint is just an indication of a relaxed left hand. Doesn't mean that all fingers have to super curved. Just be able to curve it, just the way when we relax, our hand tends to be something like that. And the thumb tend to stay near the middle finger, and then you would place the thumb between this part, leather, and the frog, and see if you can curve it and place right on the side this way. And then I like to put the middle finger. It can be a little deeper grip when you play forte, and when you play softer it gets a little lighter. That changes, but approximately the first joint of the finger joint. And then fingers are closed, a little relaxed. You can have a little spaced out, tiny bit space, but don't overdo that because that creates the tension. Just enough that you have a little spacing between fingers. Now, here important things: the pinky should not go too far. Stay near the ring finger, but keep it at the tip of the pinky because that's gonna be the one that helps the the bow stick balance in a specific spot. So we need that one. And index finger, you want to have it good, very well wrapped, almost to the first joint from the knuckle, because that's the one that you will be able to put a little more weight, or at the tip, or when you do down bow or post staccato. That's something that we need a lot of grip for. So approximately that one. Now place the violin comfortably and the bow in the middle, about when you see a square, about perpendicular 90 degrees, and see if you can keep that one. So that's about a healthy posture. Now, that's very basics when it holds holding the violin or holding the bow. Now, also let's check it whether in standing and in sitting, whether we can check proper posture. When you're standing, um, it's some ladies put their legs together, or sometimes we put weight on one hips and the other. I'm really exaggerating. Once in a while is okay, but violin playing is hard enough. So you make sure you have a very well balanced legs too. Give a little space between legs, not too far out, but just a little space, maybe about this much, just 1 foot or something. And then because your violin will be on your left shoulder, sometimes putting your left foot slightly forward, just tiny bit like this, left about this much space, and left foot slightly half step forward, and just helps us to balance a little better. Right? And then again, middle bow like that one. And then see if you can move your body left and right so that you don't stay stiff, but rather in a relaxed way. Okay, that's about that one. That would be good healthy posture. Now, when you're sitting, it's okay to practice in sitting, because especially when you practice for a long time, we get tired, or when you're in orchestra, we have to sit. Then, if you have a choice, choose a chair. Try to choose a chair that has a no armrest. When you sit, and then when there's an armrest, and this armrest gets on the way to hold the violin, and then to place to use a whole bow. So it would be better to have a chair without an armrest. It's okay to have a backrest, but when you sit, try to not to sit resting your back, because then we kind of get sunk into the chair. It's okay to rest the lower hip at the end of the chair so that you have a proper, good firm lower hip. And you do same thing. So hold the violin on the side of the chin, left hand a bit under the violin, left arm under the violin, hold this way. I personally prefer chair that's not too cushy, or chair even without backrest, because I have temptation of resting in it if I have a choice. So I prefer chair something like that piano stool, a little firm, but then I have a little better control of my torso, which will give me a little better chance. So whichever chair that will both work. I just personally prefer a little firmer chair without backrest, but I sit well, make sure that I have good balance in my lower hips or upper thigh, a little space between two legs. Again, you can put your left foot slightly forward the side of the violin, and this posture will be good. Now that's very basics. Then now you have to also remember, we have to be flexible as you play, depending on what string, what position you're doing. We are constantly changing. For example, when I'm in the middle bow, it's easy to keep the bow in the parallel. But as soon as I go to the tip, my arm is quite extended, and my bow grip is no more same as the before in the middle. So keep that in mind. The bow grip that we thought that's ideal is ideal for the middle bow. As you go toward the tip, the pinky gets almost no touch. You can even lift the pinky if you like, and then the wrist comes down quite a bit. And that same thing happens even when you go towards a frog. The wrist comes up quite a bit as we bring also the upper arm a little higher. Because if I don't, it's going to be very difficult to play beautiful tunes. So we have to naturally bring the upper arm a bit, and the wrist comes a bit. Long story short, the bow grip that was in the middle bow was looks very different than when it was at the front. So is it at the tip. Same thing happens on the left end. Um, of course, we have to move our left elbow sideways depending on what string I'm playing, G string, D, and A, and E. The thumb being placed near index and middle finger. But even this, as I go higher positions, already from fourth position, thumb no longer stays on the side, it goes slightly under, at some point completely under from the position 5, so much so it goes on the side, and my left arm placement is very different. You might have seen it, but just keep that in mind. As soon as you pass the beginner level, the posture, left and right hand, or general body posture changes. It happens even more when you're going higher positions. So not only left hand turn, because as you can see that my left hand turns quite a bit, but if I keep the violin the same way, I have to twist my arm quite a bit and squeezing my own arm or twisting my own arm if I keep that way. In order to free the tension that's built, then I have to somehow change the angle. So now as I go lower, I can just bring my violin style to my left, and then instantly the tension here is already released, right? And it's a bit easier to go upward too. Make sure in general, when you go high position, whether it's E or G, it's easier when you bring your violin slightly to your left. It may be small distance that makes a huge difference. So what happens when you change the string? We learn how to hold the violin about diagonally like that. But if I keep that same way, for each string I have held my violin quite vertically, which I cannot get much help from gravity, so therefore it's difficult to play beautiful tone. It's not impossible, but it's harder. But if I open my chest up a bit this way and bending my back backwards, I can bring my E string out a little more this way and becomes E string a bit more exposed, E's to play. And the reverse happens. For the G string, instead of raising my right elbow quite high, I can just tilt my violin a bit this way by pushing our shoulder a little forward. Then I just raise my right elbow a little and then I can touch G string. Now when you do that, make sure it's not raising shoulder, but it's rather pushing forward. So this way. It's not raising this way, but pushing forward. G, D, A, and E. Right? So, of course, there are much more to be spoken about this one, but generally speaking, when it comes to healthy posture, try to have it flexible, meaning have a basic posture in mind, but it's not always same bow grip that works for every part of it. So when something moves, when bow moves, you have to also adjust the bow grip. When your position changes from first to the fifth position, then your left hand placement and the rest of it, the angle of the violin, the left arm, has to adjust to adapt the new position. Make sure you be always very flexible to modify, to understand, analyze, and modify your posture, which will help you to play better and ultimately master techniques better too. I hope this gave you some ideas. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again. Bye bye.